Ada pakai waiting lama.
Ada apa?
Waiting gitu.
Oh iya,
lama.
ya kalau untuk surat seperti ini emang dapat.
Kadang yang cepat itu juga perlu bagus ya.
So you can start coming here at exactly.
So then I'll see you at noon.
No, I'm going to pick you up here like yeah, almost.
So I need to be done before.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Hey, bud.
Morning.
We're missing a lot of people. Should you write? I think you allow that. Should we start? It's 9:30, so we're gonna start. I'm gonna make you guys think today. Oh no. We're gonna talk about the future of XR, and after lunch, Lynn is going to talk about training and education for using XR. But after Monday, I started looking into the VR industry in Indonesia. This I didn't know. But remember the numbers we were talking about on Monday? Then we were talking about billions of dollars, right? So here we're talking about millions of dollars. So revenue, and so this is from Statistica. And I checked to be sure that they actually gave a number for countries. So I checked the number for Norway, so they did for different, for the same thing. So I'm assuming this is, if not totally correct, it's within the ballpark. Yes. So we have a revenue in 2023 for a project in the market to reach $312 million. So it's not pocket money. And then they expect it to grow with about 15% almost by 2027. So $544 million is a lot of money also. So this industry is growing also in Indonesia. Here might be one of the issues. User penetration, that there's only about 31%, 32% that is using the technology at this point, and they don't expect that to grow much either in 2027. So that might be one of the issues or the challenges for this industry here. But at the same time, the number of users up to 101 million users. That's quite a lot of people anyway. The penetration numbers in Norway were about 80%. There's 6 million of us. Okay. So that even though the percentage is high, the number is not that high. So you have to take that into consideration that the numbers and percentage is still a high number. So I don't think that even though the numbers and you don't necessarily always see that this will happen, I don't think the numbers are that all. And I also found this company that I'm hoping the website's open. This is a VR company from Indonesia that is located in Jakarta. So they are doing both mixed, augmented, and virtual reality, and seems to be doing it in very many different industries. So I think that even though we don't see it as much yet, it's here. So I think, yeah, I think my words from Monday that the train is moving and maybe station, I think still stand by them 2 days later. Things are happening. So I'm just going to leave this webpage in the presentation here, so that you can see it later and have a look at what they do. Were you surprised by these numbers?
Surprised.
Yes.
Because I didn't see much that issue on the publication
Yeah.
In the Indonesian like what is done is about education, but on other sectors, but maybe the issue on that training maybe hindered by the fact that they do quietly because some issue on in the past we have the issue of corruption on the simulation for the driver license test.
Yeah.
So that's why maybe they keep doing that quietly or something.
And let's face it, we don't like change. So any new technology is gonna take a while to start using. And that's just how it is. But when I started looking into it, because I figured I needed to know. I was as curious as you guys to know how the state was here. And it looks like it's growing. So it's for you as computer scientists, this is part of the future. Okay. Who's it?
From
From Ready Player One.
Yes, it is. This is his gaming area in Ready Player One. It's an old car that's just sitting there, and he uses it as a room. And just for fun, I do have a check.
You
So let's see if we can get sound on this,
know what
like we did the other day.
Good hope.
My,
Who lives here will love somebody. In 2045, it's still ranked the fastest growing city on Earth, but sure doesn't seem like it when you live in the States. They call our generation the missing millions. Missing not because we ran away. Even left it up. Eccentric faces. Place that feels like that. It's reality of your own imagination.
That's something tells me that that is what the meta wants the metaverse to be. That we connect as soon as we get up in the morning, and then that's where we live our life, and we kind of step out to eat and that's it, eat and sleep. I kind of hope we don't get there. But if you haven't watched that movie, it's a fun movie to watch, and it's a little annoying. So have a look. Okay. So we have heard from a few different people the last 2 days. And I want to know what we know at this time before we move on. So, just between us, what are the ethical considerations you need to make before introducing extended reality into an organization? And now your brains need to wake up. We had 3 hours of ethics yesterday. So what is the ethical considerations we need to consider? Yes.
When you try to introduce extended reality into an organization, first you should inform all the participants in your organization about the consequences, and you should like get their consent beforehand before you start implementing everything.
Mhm.
And you should be careful when you use it with some categories in the society, like older people
Mhm.
or children's, and just use it wisely.
Yes, that's very true. Any other things that you can come up with? Why is it so important to consider these things to inform people what the technology is doing? Yes.
Because when you use extended reality, you'll get some data out of the experience.
Mhm.
This data might be used in a wrong way. It might be collected and used by third parties that are like into some evil activities, and you should be aware where your data is going to. So that's why you need to be informed beforehand, and you need to know where your data is going.
Any other comments? Back row. He needs to open it, lift his head and look at me. On the back row, hi. What do you think about this?
We need to explain it first,
Why?
because to be early before we used to use the exam.
Yeah, so what is the dangers of XR or risks?
Misuse.
Misuse of what?
So many years.
So it's mostly the data, right? It's the data that is collected either by we as researchers or we as programmers. We're going to test this. There's data that is collected, but the system itself also collects data, and especially now with more and more sensors in these headsets, it's going to be even more. So, who are more likely to benefit from this technology? If you're going to have one group of people, and I'm guessing most of you are in that group. Yes.
IT students.
Well, IT students is one thing, but most of you are male, and most of you are probably in your 20s. And those are the groups that is the group that is the most benefit, that can benefit the most from this, because most of you have fairly decent eyesight. And the rest of us, we don't count. And that is part of what Rigmor and Alan was talking about, right, on Monday, that we need to be able to make this technology also fit other people than the ones that are designing it. Women have generally smaller heads than men, which means that our eyes are closer together. This is just biology, right? Which means that those two screens inside that headset needs to be closer together for us to be able to see it more right. So unless it's possible to move those inside the headset, we will struggle to see clearly what's going on. And that's just an easy thing, because that is possible to do. Even in the Oculus Quest headset, you can move the screens. It's not very sophisticated or anything, but it's possible. Some of them you can have it calibrated to fit the person who is using it. So it's possible to do. Other human factors we need to consider. Here in the middle. Yes, you.
Like I said, the session is for the health factors and addiction factors.
Yeah. So what do we need to consider when introducing extended reality into a
So I'm
consideration?
sure that the people are aware of the health risks.
Yeah. What kind of health factors?
The one that we know is like eye strain and vision sickness, but there are things or the things that we don't know. So it has to be aware.
Definitely. There's many things we don't know. But hopefully we will learn how this will affect us. Yes. Okay. Just to remind ourselves what we're talking about extended reality, and that's an umbrella term, right? So it's not a specific technology. It's just an umbrella term that talks about different types of technology. And under there, we find augmented reality, and usually that's on the phone or on a screen where we can hold it up and we see something on there. And I have some more examples. And then we have mixed reality, and the HoloLens is one of the bigger ones that we know that is made by Microsoft. That is using mixed reality. And then we have virtual reality where we actually, you guys got to try that yesterday with and that headset that you were trying yesterday, that was an Oculus Quest 2, just so you know.
Mhm.
That's how they look. That is the first headset that is independent of a computer. You don't have to have a computer hooked up to it to use it. You just need the headset and the phone with an app. That's it. And they have, I know that Rose said yesterday that you have to have a Facebook account. They have changed that since last year. August of last year, they changed that till that you need an Oculus registration, but you don't need to connect it to your Facebook account. I think there was too many that went against that idea that thought that was not a good, which I agree with. Okay. So virtual reality can be with the Oculus headset that you had yesterday, you didn't have headphones on, so you could hear what was going on in the room and the people that were cheering you on and clapping and seeing what you were seeing, so you could see that you were riding off the road or hitting into somebody, or it was quite fun to watch you guys do that. And then you have the ones that with headsets, so you kind of shut out the outside world. So the more immersed you are, the less of the outside world you see. Some of them you can also see on the screen. So when and if you do research, like the headset you had yesterday you were hooked up so that everybody else could see what you were seeing. It's also possible with that headset to do that through Google Chrome. So you still don't have to be hooked up, but you can still transfer to a screen so that other people can see what you're seeing. And doing a research or doing something that you're creating an application or something that is useful, so you can see what whoever's training in this also sees. Using mixed reality, that is a HoloLens. Okay. Or maybe not. The HoloLens looks almost like it, but they had it as a big battery pack on the back. But then you can create images in front of you on a table or up in the air that you can use that is digital at the same time as you're dealing with this one. The HoloLens also comes with, if you have a camera, if you have the right kind of camera, of course, you can stand in front of that in one room, and then people that are using the HoloLens in a different location can see your hologram. And that is kind of cool. But you, of course, have to have the headsets on both sides of that connection for that to happen. Which means that basically you can have some sort of social presence, even though you're not actually physically there. So if that is, if we're going in that direction, that would be kind of interesting. Then I could have been, instead of being on the screen like the other ones have been, I could have been standing here doing this lecture, but standing physically in Norway. That would have been kind of fun. And then you have augmented reality, and we all have talked about Pokemon Go. That's an easy one to it's just an easy example. But this is more a useful example. In, for instance, in logistics, you need to know where are the items that you're going to take in a warehouse, how many is left, and the system will know that based on probably RFID codes or any other things that they have out there. But it will be visible as virtual items on the screen using augmented reality in real time. So that's kind of new ways of using this technology. I think this will be the one that will be useful in many different companies. But that that is because it doesn't require extra gear. It usually requires technology that we already have, hardware that we already have. Most of us at work will have iPad or a tablet of some sort, or a phone that is for the company. So it will make sense. Yes. Anything else that I haven't said about these technologies that you remember over the last couple of days? What has surprised you the most? And everything's been clear and no surprises. I don't believe that. Yes.
Yesterday lecture, the aqueous gets request from Meta versus Meta. That's
That surprised you?
yeah, because how much they collect the data and the way.
Yeah. It's all kinds. So it's, as many sensors that are in these headsets, it's kind of scary. But at the same time, it's scary in a way that we need to know what it means. And the more we know about how much data is collected about us, the scarier it is. Let's face it, Google knows our whole life. If Google doesn't know it, it's not worth knowing. It's just the way it is. And Facebook knows the rest. So then together, here you go. Because Facebook, what is it? Facebook owns WhatsApp.
Instagram.
They own Instagram, Facebook. What else? How many of you have WhatsApp,
Messenger.
Instagram, and Facebook?
And there is also Messenger.
You are social.
Also Messenger. Messenger.
They have,
For texting. Messenger.
yeah. Messenger, yeah, that's part of, oh. So then we have WhatsApp, Instagram, Messenger, and WhatsApp. Facebook. Okay, so we have those 4. How many can say that I have none of those? Nobody. You can say they have all of those. Exactly. We all have them. So it's kind of naive to believe that we don't share our data. But if we, in addition, put them on our face where they can collect the data from sensors about our physical body, that's also something we think about. Yes. Now I'm gonna put you guys to work. And we're gonna do this in 3 different sessions, and we're not gonna, I'm just gonna stay here with you. But like we did the other day, 3 and 3 or 2 and 2. Discuss these 3 questions, 10 minutes. 10 minutes, and then we'll talk about it, and we're gonna do it 3 times. So it's going to, then we'll have a break. But we're gonna do it 3 times, we're gonna talk about different things. So, and I expect more people, I will point. So, I'm gonna leave that here, so you don't have to, worry about not finding it. That's not happening. That is not a discussion. You have to talk together to discuss.
Yes.
Yeah.
The discussion is gonna be about virtual reality or other realities.
Just virtual reality. But we will do it on augmented reality, and then we'll do it on mixed reality afterwards. That's all we're doing it 3 times. That was specific this time.
When more? When it's one more, it's the one of them. Hey, TikTok. Wanna join? Wanna join?
Yeah, you only have to.
Oh, no. Yeah, this is you have pencil and paper.
Write it down.
We really detailed this state that when we take
But now we're now really guessing, right? Because nobody's.
so we're not going to detail, but
No, you just want, what do you think is the future? What do you think?
What is the most organization? Okay, even my dad does.
all I can do is what do you think? I got nothing else to say.
So the so our more
Okay, 1 more minute.
Yeah.
This all is the same as it.
Okay, then. We're gonna start at the last row on this here. And then start with the first question. And to be able to. Yeah, you're second to last. You're fine. Okay. First question. What do you think is the future of virtual reality?
I think many things that this technology has a bright future, but from the fact that this technology has been proven to provide benefits in many educational process, this technology is also a new way to present information. This is proven by the rapidly increasing trend of virtual reality games using a VR device. World of gaming is one of the most effective industry to adopt VR technology. The reason is because VR technology is able to change the fictional world into a new reality. So if the visualization in VR can be sensed by humans, and the fictional mode is mostly born from the concept and imagination of the game.
Okay, so that is what we know now. So what do you think will be the future?
I think.
What's next?
What?
What's next? Not what we've used it for already, but what is going to happen?
What is
In 5 years from now, how are you going to use VR?
For study.
For study?
Yeah.
What?
It's, like.
While he's thinking, I'm going to ask you guys. Yes.
Sure. So in our point of view, I think the future of VR will be lighter, smaller, and so it will have more features.
Okay. That is good point. Yes.
I think one of the clear example is like the glasses.
Hey, I can't hear her when you're talking.
Glasses that can guide riders to go anywhere, like so they can see the maps from the glasses.
Actually, there's a very good ones. I like those ideas.
So
did you hear what she was saying? No, because you don't pay attention. She's saying that the future of VR, the technology, the actual hardware will be smaller and lighter and easier to bring with you. And it could technically be as small as regular glasses. So that will be fitted on you. That's something that we wear. Like I would kind of be able to have it on my glasses right now. Yes?
Yes.
Anything else?
I think we can contribute the VR to everyday's life, so we can do anything with VR, like the educational thing.
Mm-hmm.
Also to do something, some works like coding. I think we can see the prototype. Just I think we can feel the prototype just like we use the real application. If we want to feel the sense of the application that we.
That's very good points. Very good point. Anybody else? We're still on the first question. What do you think is the future of virtual reality?
Yeah. I guess we will have dimension of the world that we can feel or can see the new world. So we can have two dimensions. Then we have in relative life, and then we have in relative life.
Sure, that could definitely be one of the futures of this, one of the future word uses of this. Anything else? Yes,
Can help people achieve their dream. Like if someone want to be a wrestler or like F1 or MotoGP, they just use
like in Ready Player One, yeah, well, why not? Why not?
so they can tie it with virtual reality.
Yes, then I will be a football star. Yeah, that is very cool. That I like that too. You have good ideas. You just have to get them out. Okay, because let's face it, none of us know. We're guessing. We're doing somewhat educated guesses, but we're guessing, right? Okay, so in what industries? And that could, and industry is anything from banking to production to, we're talking anything. Will virtual reality, or in your opinion, will virtual reality be more beneficial? Now I'm talking the back row here. Yes,
Okay, so what we think, what industry will be the most beneficial if using virtual reality is probably the entertainment industry.
okay, why?
For example, like if with the state of the VR games right now, we can see basically just an illusion.
Yeah.
Like they have mentioned,
Mhm.
but if we could also touch, we could also feel the wind at the same time.
So
And
adding haptic to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it will enable people like we don't have to go to an actual stadium to watch a game. We don't have to go to Paris to experience Paris. But
Yes.
you could just do anything you can imagine. You can go to a virtual world, completely fantasy based.
This I can't hear him when somebody's talking. That applies here too. Yes. Please.
Fantasy based. So basically, it will make the entertainment industry benefit more.
That's good examples. You guys. Yes, that would be you. Second question, what industries?
I can answer.
Yeah, that's you guys.
Okay. Maybe yes, Lord. Right to industry to having experience with films example on YouTube and interest emotional connection with the character of film itself. I think.
Okay, so entertainment again.
Yes.
Any other industries? Education? How?
Example. That's it.
Yeah, that could possibly be.
Or in collaboration.
Yes. How about you guys? You had your hand up.
So the industry that will benefit the most is first from the medical, like we have some from surgery training, and then for high risk industries like mining, constructions, and then for crime fighting from the like when there's a sabotage, you can plan the planning of how to rescue a hostage.
Yeah.
Or maybe like daily firefighting. I think like that.
Training, yeah. I found it interesting about the high risk industries like construction and mining. How do you think VR will be beneficial there?
Because with VR, people would actually be exposed in the real workplace
Okay.
during the training.
So you think that we will add cameras down in the mines or and then you will see it from the outside, or Or is it for training purposes you're thinking?
or training.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Yes? You had your hand up too.
Yes, I think I will bring some weird examples, but one of them
That's fine. I like
Uh,
your examples.
it's gonna one of the most beneficial industries is gonna be tourism.
Yeah.
If they adopt the new technology, because now you have to travel all the world if you wanna see like if you wanna visit, right? But if you want to in the future, in the near future, I think there will be just like some stations where you can just put your headset, then you will maybe see some other places in the world. You don't have to travel to. And the other example would be the astronaut. Astronaut, when they go to the space and explore the space, I think there will be some assimilation for the space and the moon and other planets, and they might benefit from that as well.
Sure. For tourism, somewhat we can do some of these things already, and it is beneficial. But you also want to make it to this point where people still want to go and see the things, right?
I disagree.
You disagree? Please.
Because
Yes, I like this.
I disagree with you. The point of traveling the world is like you know the local secret on that place. So I want to travel to Yaman. I don't want to simulate the Yaman from Georgia. It's not fun at all. I want to not a war. For that, yeah. Inshallah. So the idea in tourism is like because we are in the foreign place, we don't understand. Maybe the place is important. We want to know the story on the place.
Yes.
Because that the wisdom.
Yes.
The wisdom can be everywhere. The wisdom can be in Norway, but maybe the rising time of me early in the morning, and the Norway people not yet wake up. But I want to know the story. So that's the VR maybe taking in place, but that not stopping us to travel the world.
No.
Because travel the world, you can take maybe the best food in Norway is ice cream, and the best food in Indonesia is the pisang goreng. You need to eat that on the place, not in your room.
I agree with her.
Sorry, yeah.
But I also believe that we will use VR to learn about these places before we go. I don't think it will be either or, especially on the travel part. Because as much fun as it would be to be a hologram in front of you guys, I wouldn't be here and eat rice for all my meals. I never eat rice. Yes.
I want to add for Leah's opinion.
Yeah.
He said that like visit a country by virtually, right?
Yeah.
I think that would be for me it would be great because it will give you a minimum cost to do so.
Sure.
So even though we cannot experience it in real life, like the experience will not be the same. It will not be as great as visiting in the real world. But I think if we could visit the country and experience almost the same experience as visiting in the real world, I think it would be worth it.
True, and I don't think we will have almost the same experience though. I agree with you there.
Yeah.
It will be limited.
Yeah, but still having those experience while also expend minimum cost, I think it will still be worth it.
Oh yeah, it's different ways of seeing things, right? And this is my first time to Indonesia. It's actually my first time in Asia, right?
Also, we have to give her a good impression.
I'll be back.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. What I experienced here with the humidity and the heat and the food and the people, and there's no way I could have that experience through VR. The smells, the busy traffic, I'm so happy I'm not driving. It's and you drive on the wrong side of the road. But these are things that you don't get unless you get. And I tell my students in Norway, because they are for some reason very reluctant to go on exchange. That is an easy way of experiencing a new country, right? There's always a reason why not to do something, but do it anyway. Because when you're a student, that is the time to do it. There's no time later that you will have that opportunity to just go. I went 2 out of my 5 years on my undergraduate and master's program. I went 2 years as well. And culture shock is a must, but you get over it. So it's all kinds of good things. But I do think that VR will be part of tourism, and it could be that we experience things before we go. Some will not have the opportunity to go. Some can't go, and this will be a way to experience new things. So all of you are right. There's no right or wrong here, but I think it's a mix. It's not either or. Okay, so for what kind of tasks do you think that virtual reality will be most useful? Now we're still talking headsets and immersed technology here. Yes, back row.
Maybe in the medicine. So
how?
In medical ways. So, for example, they have surgery. Okay, so they can't see what is the disease. So how would they cut it? That way, and they will have all the options. And on the other hand, to create, you can see now there is no technology. You put vitamin, and for example, that vitamin maybe camera it will do. They create now it will take in your body. They control it, move to that side so they can see it. And in other kinds, maybe in meetings, so you can meet virtually.
Yeah. Definitely. There's all kinds of opportunities. Anything else? Yes.
Can be used for, I would say, teaching. So, for example, for history class, so the history teacher wants to display, for example, the process of building the pyramids. So, with VR, you can like display the step-by-step process directly, even though it's VR.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what's great about it, for example, if you want to, like before we talk about the tourism part, like we can view, for example, like Paris or the current places all around the world. What's great about it is that we can visit in different times, like 30 years ago or 1,000 years ago. And it really helps, for example, like I said, the history teacher, I think it's really helped with the teaching.
That idea I really don't like, because that way you can kind of step back in time. And still, you can't go step back in time.
Yeah.
So that is awesome. That's a good idea. Really good idea. Anything else? Yes.
I guess it will be most useful in entertainment side because we can do something like game, and then even we can watch a movie with the vibes of we enter the cinema with visual reality, and then we can experience in watching concert, but we saw in our home, and then I think it will help for those people who want to watch concert, but he cannot because he can control himself in crowded because I think
that's also a good idea. That's a really good idea. And some people don't like crowds. So being able to participate in a concert without being in the crowd it's a good idea. Anything else? Yes.
Yes. To more useful, maybe to make film. that use technology to reduce injuries and style effectiveness using technology such as CGI. Maybe, yes, like that. More effort to movie, the actor or actress to reduce injuries, most effort is CGI to help them. I think that
That's not it. Okay, think about this though, movie night. You invite all your friends over for movie night. And all of you sit there with your headsets on. In the same room with your headsets on. How much fun is that though? I'm not sure. So we'll see if that's how far we go. But sitting separately watching like that, yeah. And honestly, I've tried to watch a YouTube video in a headset. I had to sit down because I got sick. Any other comments on this? See, you can talk. Let's try mixed reality. Then we're talking HoloLens and that. And we do 10 minutes.
Scale and yes, what's on experience will be on the it's like bring your phone that you see. So like something here. So it's different. So someone or an elephant or a dog. You see it from your phone. If you move your phone, there's nothing. And it's sitting here. Everything is virtual. Everything is made up. There's something here, but you still consider it more. But you see, yeah, you can say it. You still see the red wall. You still see this one, this paper, right? You see a dog here. See a dog, everything is right. And the virtual reality, everything is digital, everything is made up. There is nothing real. There is something real, there is something that's real, that's virtual. So we still use the yeah. See, if you can use your phone, but the difference is virtual reality, there is something right, and there is something real that's all imaginary. There is still some element to that. There's you still can see here, you see everybody else, but you still can see some other stuff. Yeah, I was thinking for number one. Like space. Yeah, it's there. We get how the building yeah, you can like have an old building and you can just like some applications and see how you apply the application, how it's gonna be. Yeah, that's what I just maybe that one. Number one. What number is Oh, good job. Number two. Yes. Environment will be the useful. Oh, one of accepts. I think this would mix well. They can use their real
Kenapa? Apa Bu? Oh ya. Iya. Prosesnya.
So do you need another minute or you're ready? You ready? Okay. Let's start at the top down. So what do you think is the future of mixed reality? And I think we're gonna start with the girls on this side now. Yeah, that would be you guys. Yeah. The rest of you need to be quiet so I can hear.
For education, because it depends on the people.
Yeah. Anything else? No? Anybody else have something else? The future of mixed reality. What are we gonna use it for? Yes.
We think the future is right, but I don't think it will be as like as right as VR and AR.
Okay.
I would say that MR is not too practical. There's this, and we have this Indonesian word called nanggung. It's like where it's not like a complete use, I would say. Like if you want to use like MR or to view the augmented view, like why not use AR instead? Like it's very practical. We just use our phones like that, right? And if you want like to for the point of wearing glasses, why not just use VR instead? So I think that the future of MR, I think it will be, I think it will be great, but not as great as VR and MR because VR and AR is a lot more simple and practical than MR.
Okay. Good points. Any other points? Yes.
It will, for example, we can have virtual tab, cartoon, character, which means that have friends, virtual girlfriend. Talk about our problem in daily that what anyone knows.
Okay. Well, that's also a good one. Anything else? Yes.
I think you can mix the mixed reality with bodysuit that can give you new things that are attaching. So for example, if you're building a prototype and you want to know what it feels like when you touch it, so it will give more beneficial.
That's not a bad idea. So connecting mixed reality with nothing. That's not a bad idea. Okay. Anything else?
I mean, like, the hardware, maybe, as we already have the glasses as our for reality, maybe we could evolve into something smaller, like contact lenses that can be paired with bracelets.
Oh yeah.
Or efficient and more. There's some people who don't even know this.
Oh, why not? This is the time to really go far out there. So we can now the fantasy can just stop us. Okay, anything else? You guys over there haven't said much.
I think the future of mixed reality is like in the movie Iron Man, prototyping something like that. So
yeah,
helpful like for manufacturing industry or something like that. Creating a new technology or something, but first build the prototype.
Yeah.
To build together with him using mixed reality.
Yes.
That's all.
Good idea. Anything else? Yeah.
I think mixed reality will be limited. It's not going to be as much as popular at the others.
Yeah.
VR, I think will be more. This one's there. It's not practical.
Not practical? Not practical. You know, the HoloLens is probably the most used of all.
Yeah.
In this one, yes. And that is mixed reality. And that is what they use to train surgeons. Because then you see both the physical world and the image of the body part that you're going to do research and do surgery on at the same time. So this is the one that they're using for those things. And remember we saw the video we saw Monday. They used mixed reality for calling when they were out, needed to do maintenance on a part, but they needed to call some expert to get help. That's what they used, mixed reality. So it's a little. I think they have different means. But all of these points are valid. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying that think a little further. Also,
Is the image that on the mixed reality can be adjusted to the environment that we see or not?
What do you mean?
Supposing this can be useful for the furniture company. Yeah. Supposing I want to buy things, I want to know whether it will be when I click the object, say with the glass or something, and I look in the room, oh, that will be fit there correctly. Is there any tools to change the volume of object according to the room size, or is it?
I think for that purpose, we're talking augmented reality. Yeah, but to build a prototype, to test the prototype, I think that idea with it with haptic was a good idea, because then you can do all these different things at the same time and interact with the object.
Yeah, it will have us to decide whether, say, I want to buy the washing machine because it will be in my kitchen.
Yeah.
Or not like that, because having the object display on the website, sometimes the measurement is not fit when coming in the room. So something like that.
Something like that. That could also be. Any other things? Okay, so in what industries do you think mixed reality will be most beneficial? Yes.
In medicine, trainer and student can practice surgery in clinical environment.
Yeah.
And even in the surgery, so surgeon can see 3D models of the patient organ, so they can make plan before and during the surgery, make the easier and the easier decision for the patient. And even in shopping, so the customer can try the clothes and the accessories. So see this good.
Yeah, definitely. Anything else?
Yeah. I think one of the issues that haven't been mentioned is real estate industries because using this reality, people can replicate their furniture when they're looking for their home. They can see how will their furniture look like in their place.
Yeah.
I think it's the addition of that. It's reality.
That's an idea. How about you guys in the back here? Yeah.
I think we can be used to support the educational and improve student learning effectiveness. For example, the application of mixed reality technology can be used in the biology learning process, especially this related to related topics which can such a part of the development.
That's ideas. Good ideas. Anything else? Yep.
I feel like in logistics industries, we can see maybe the image before you show to us. You can see how much the item that see from the physical layer and virtual that show the information in front of you, and then like in simulation or training you can fit something with the physical, like you can just those in virtual and you fit to physical layer by virtually. So like manufacture industry, that will be most beneficial.
Well, that's a good idea also. I don't know. Nobody knows.
Yes.
So we're just guessing here, right? But it's nice to have a joint guessing game. What kind of tasks do you think mixed reality will be most useful? Yes.
On the webinars, presentation, and marketing purposes.
Okay.
So we could explain to the customer while doing products.
Yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
We can present as the look for meaning. Relatively real plan. We can maybe if we for minimum cost because maybe it will easy for us to discuss if we want to change the part of the document.
That makes sense. Yes.
I would say, people who have some special needs, someone like someone who's their hearing, they might use the visual Israel. There's gonna be someone speaking, and just appear to them like description.
Actually, that is a very good idea. Yeah. I would love to have that on my class sometimes. That it would just give me automatically. PowerPoint is able to do that now somewhat. It's not always really good, but it can record what you're saying and give the text. Yeah. So it's that would be awesome sometimes because it's not always easy to hear, even though we're supposed to have good hearing, to hear what's being said. Anything else you want to talk about here? Yeah.
Yes, I think like educational slash that's just in the museum you can use this reality device to view and add artifacts. They can provide information of also maybe soon they can provide this reality device to view basic animals so we can interact with them, and we can see other sizes compared in our real world.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Very good idea. Anything else? Yeah.
Talking about much useful, transportation urban school, forcing in place to absent to use less than
For before class?
Yes. Using to absent make less than
Okay, yeah. Why not? Yes. Yeah.
Product design and like we want to make something we need to feeling whatever, and before we make it into reality we can
These are all very good ideas. Really, really good ideas. Mixed reality, like the example that I talked about earlier with meetings and holograms, that's also mixed reality. And the beauty with mixed reality is that whatever hologram or virtual item that you are dealing with, you can place it where you want. With augmented reality, you kind of have, this is the hard part about programming it, you have to deal with the physical world to get it on the right spot. But with the mixed reality, you can take a virtual liver or heart or whatever it is and place it where you want in the room, because that's just how the technology works. So you don't have to deal so much with which room you're in. Okay, any other ones here before we move on? Yes.
I think scientists also can benefit from this one.
Okay, how?
They can get like they'll do some experiments with them also. They don't have to do this or just to find the animal. They can just like measure an animal, just do the experiment and find what they want. Without even having to go far away from their city or their places.
Well, that's an idea also. You can do, well, you kind of have to have one example though, but do all kinds of scannings and then build a virtual model of that animal. And you can figure out a lot of stuff. Yes, so you had something to.
Yes, maybe this is I don't know if it's most useful or not, because I think it can be implemented when we sit in our car or ride or in our bikes.
Yeah.
We use a helm,
Yeah.
and then often we use our smartphone to navigate where we should go. Or with this mixed reality, I think it can be implemented in our helm or in our mirror. That's
Not a bad idea.
navigate us was far. Yes, just
You get it on the windshield, for instance.
yes.
Yeah. Oh, why not?
I don't know.
This is why it's fun to do this thought experiments, right?
Yeah.
What is possible? It's just you stop it. So then that is a good idea. And then you have the mixed reality on the windshield instead. You can have it on in a helmet or in a headset, but you don't necessarily need a headset. You may just have it on there. So you get the directions on your windshield. Some well, I drive a Tesla, so I have this huge, it's a big computer run by an iPad. And I have this thing, it's running all the time. It's sometimes a mess, but it works. But getting on the windshield, then I would see it instead of having to take minutes off the road. That's a good idea. I like that. Let's try it with augmented reality. I'm afraid to give you a break now because your brain is working.
Apa sih sebenarnya? Aduh, biasanya tuh nggak lihat ibunya. Dan nggak komentar. Soalnya mau.
Oh iya iya.
Do you guys need more time or are we ready for this challenge? 2 more minutes? Yep. Okay, let's try it. Augmented reality. So what's the future of augmented reality? Yes.
AR will combine AI that we can see place and so we can get more help.
Okay, so you said connecting artificial intelligence with augmented reality. How?
Yeah, well, the example is like we know that air having a bacteria or viruses, so you can see the clean air or the dirt air, and maybe we can see the pollution in air from before, so we can know how dirt the air, the
So we use pollution data with augmented reality, and we can kind of scan the air. That's a good idea. I like that. Okay, anything else? Yeah.
I think the future of augmented reality will be used on retail.
Retail, how?
That you can see something 2D that maybe in the store, like big item, they just give you a QR like that, and you can scan it. That in the physical, that was big product, and you can see like turn around like 360. Yeah, you can see it in every retail situation that you can put the product offline like that.
On display.
Yeah, on display. Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So you need a smaller store
Yes.
to do the same thing that you did before. Well, that's a good idea. Okay, anything else? Yes. Yeah.
So that human can experience try new experience and create new games
Using AR.
using
How?
by blend the reality and virtual world.
Okay, yeah. So you think we will have more Pokemon Go's? Yes. Yeah. Much better. Actually, there's a company in Norway. It's a startup. It's called Hidden. And you probably have that here in Indonesia too. All kinds of folk stories. That old stories about well, in Norway it's trolls, right? You all know that Norway is known for trolls. It's fiction figures, but still, and if they come out in sunlight, they turn into stone, and that's why we have all these mountains. But there are so folk stories. So this company is using augmented reality, kind of like Pokemon Go. So if you go hiking in the mountains or the woods, you can get up these stories about on this place, this and this and this happened. That's also kind of interesting. So that's the same idea. Anything else? Yep.
Augmented reality will be integrated with other technologies such as artificial intelligence and Internet of Things. IoT. Ending the creation of intelligent on connected environment. Example, could be used to enhance the shopping experience by allowing customers to see how product will look in their home before processing.
Well, and we see that with IKEA is doing that, for instance. Any others are doing that we know of? Do you know any Indonesian companies that are doing that? No? Oh, see it happening. You can build your kitchens using AR on a screen. You just have to put in how the dimensions of the room that you're going to do. Anything else? It's been very quiet back here. Come on. Back row. Your turn.
In terms of where I am sorry by to but very recently I still not for and writing the career as something very enjoy.
I didn't get that. So you need to explain it to me in other words. Can you explain what you just read? How about you guys? You got any examples here?
So the future of AR will be mainly used in education, especially for the kindergarten age. As we could replace long text with maybe they could use an iPad or any other kind of device that has a camera and maybe scan a barcode so that they can like play the video or image that displays maybe a whole story or other stories, and it could be used also in logistics like handling valuable items. And for tourism, it could be also like I had an experience when I was visiting Thailand last year, and it doesn't use like the normal writing, so I could scan that and directly translate it into English like that.
That's also a good idea. That's useful, very useful. I struggle with that here. That's not because it's different. Well, sometimes different language, but the language. But yeah, that is very useful. Okay, so in what industries do we think that augmented reality will be mostly used, or most beneficial? Yes.
We think for the medical department, or for example, when we want to operate an operation using AR, we can more easily patch broken bones and repair them.
Any other industries? Yes.
Maybe for the education, because maybe about the chemistry research for the students. Maybe just the public. Maybe the students just to test the chemistry research, just the covering liquid, or maybe the observation, such as the example for how photosynthesis for stroke ER and VTR will the future image the occurrence of the practicum error. For example, the error is the vertical drop or maybe millimeter of liquid use, and that will give us the pure reaction in the molecule atom.
Yeah, good ideas. You had your hand up?
I think the possibilities of vision industry, because we can use AR for clothing or some makeup that we can see that is it match with our cartoons or not.
Good ideas. Anything else? Yeah.
Maybe in military and so that children can say with the exact or defense sometimes, so they can see the location plan, yeah, so they can see how the target.
I think in any kind of, and you're on the point there, any kind where we have to make decisions, this technology could be very important. Definitely. Yeah.
Maybe it will be used in breakups.
What do you mean?
But experience or they are addicted to something, they go. But they go to a special place, like not a prison, but I don't know. They'll go to a place where they will be sitting there, and somebody's gonna teaching them how to readapt and how to engage in life.
Yeah. That sounds good. Absolutely. So what kind of tasks do you think that we can use augmented reality for? If you're gonna go out there and you're gonna come up with a new great thing and program something in augmented reality, where would you put your effort? Yes.
I think for like scanning tasks. For example, for if you're on a diet plan and it requires you to count your calories for your food, you can use augmented reality to scan your food. Then you can tell you how many calories that your food have.
Yeah.
So you can measure to the exact amount.
Yeah, that's an idea. Anything else? Yeah.
I think this is the non-dilutive one, but I think it will be more useful for the furniture or the wall itself because we can we can claim the color for our house or our room. So and then for the furniture, we can like the IKEA one, we can see is it match for our bed or our desk or our chair.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yes. Anything else? We kind of used up all the ideas for the other ones, didn't we? Yes.
DAR would be really useful for colorblind people.
How?
When you see, for example, the ceiling is white, then the text there is actually white. Since colorblind people wouldn't be able to tell the difference between, for example, red and blue. There's text that is red, that is blue.
Yeah. Actually, I like that idea. My dad is colorblind. My mom didn't believe him until she took him berry picking for lindenberries, and they're red on a green bush. He had more leaves than berries coming back. So yeah, I like that idea. That's a really good idea. Okay, let's take a 10-minute break. You guys need to get up and stand and walk around a little. And then we will do the last part afterwards. So 11 o'clock. Yeah, go outside.
Everyone and then it's snack outside. Eat that outside. Ada snack di luar. Bolehnya dimakan di luar ya.
Terus aku kan sebenarnya orang terus itu yang dari Pakistan gimana? Kok bisa?
Oh, nggak lama. Balik, ya nggak lama.
Kok bisa ya kalian?
Dengar Sikri introduction.
Oh, dia lagi duduk terus kalian.
Iya, kan nggak ada lagi tempat duduk lain. Mas, aja mana? Boleh nggak duduk situ? Ya, enak. Karena sama-sama mereka lagi duduk. Azam apa Izam namanya? Izam. Ya lebih lancar.
Bukannya lebih
Dia WA terus sama aku.
Kalau Izam itu kan dia maksudnya berani ngomong terus kan. Ini
tapi menurutku lebih bagus.
Oh, pasif ya.
Dia Zikri kerasanya.
iya, dia lebih
Ya kamu
benar-benar.
Yeah,
Kalau tahu tuh, kalau bilang ya
Apa?
girlfriend itu ya ngomong.
Pacar.
Ya kalau masa mak
Oh iya, dia paham. Iya. Ada cewek nggak tanyain kan kata gue kan. Dia langsung jawab. Apa kan? Adon. Langsung tahu dia, cewek. Dia tahu kata ceweknya.
Semester apa namanya? Berapa bulan ya tinggal sini?
Kalau tanya itu Ramadan pulang nggak?
Ya Allah. Nggak tahu.
Kayaknya enggak.
Kayaknya pulang.
Biasanya kalau Ramadan orang-orang sana udah yang gitu sebenarnya.
Terus tak tekan kan kalau kan sebulan kali Indonesia kalau ini ya ngomong ini aku ini kayak menyinggung
Nggak apa-apa. Kan gitu.
aku tengok mereka yang tweet on purpose move it naturally.
Terus gimana?
Everest kan Pakistan sore. Everest kan
Tiga.
oh tiga.
Kata dia, iya juga.
K2 gunung K2 gunung tertinggi kedua di dunia. Aku lihat di Wikipedia. Coba.
Karena orang Pakistan kan kayak di BD.
Enggak dia.
Enggak BD.
Mukanya kayak orang Europe.
Oh.
Kan kan tahu nggak? Kan ada gitu.
Oh, Pakistan Arab kan.
Kayak si Izam itu lah. Putih-putih itu.
Kayak siapa?
Izam. Azam.
Iya.
Izam.
Pakistan Arab. Ada Pakistan India.
Sampai Afghanistan. Iran.
Nggak apa lagi. Orang ini aja aku nggak tahu dia live-nya di mana.
Coba kalau aku
Mana nih? Ini di akunnya Pak Ayah Kans.
Ya, Ayah Kans itu yang mana sih yang?
Pak ini. Mas Pak.
Kita baru makan.
Ubang. Gigitan pertama buat kalian.
Iya, pertama buat penonton. Tambah food ya. Ya, sebentar ya. Namanya di luar ya. Oh iya. Iya. Kalian sini start dulu.
Oh.
Nggak boleh makan di sana. Oke. Iya. Oke, Pak.
Ya, sama. Iya. Kok tahu ya kalau kita di sini itu?
Tidak streaming.
Streaming apa? Apa? Siang aja. Aku belum sama sekali.
Kita buat untuk
penonton. Gimana caranya?
Oh, berorganisasi.
Nah, ngerasain videonya aja.
Sebenarnya juga enggak.
Makan dulu tapi badannya masih jadi.
Makanya gila aja. Lihat tes itu apa enggak sakit ya lambungnya?
Minum susu.
Ya mesti lah.
Biasanya
Memang toleransi terhadap pedasnya mungkin.
lambungnya gitu.
Kalau udah tidak transfer tadi
Sistem.
ya kita ya Indonesia dan
Oh, nggak lolos. 20. Berarti nggak lolos ke babak selanjutnya.
tidak.
Kayaknya masih ada satu tanggal.
Terakhir lawan Uzbekistan.
Oh kemarin, seri kan. Oh malam. Kalau menang tetap gagal.
kalau menang juga ngelihat Iran. Kalau Iran selisih golnya dikit atau dia seri, kita jadi kita seri. Iran kok akan menang lawan seri.
Oh itu dari mana ini? Operator sekarang. Oke, biasanya kan di sini.
Emang ada belum tadi iya imersif.
Tugasnya berarti kalian belum walaupun kita nggak ada
Nilainya kan
ya maksudnya nanti kan nggak usah diambil buat konversi ya.
sayang kan. Maksudnya kita maksimalkan dulu deh kesempatan.
Nggak bisa buat mengganti nilai ataupun nggak apa-apa sih.
Bisa kok.
Enggak kan? Kan mata kuliah pilihan dulu kan.
Ya itu konversi ini tuh jadi apa seolah-olah saya berbeda. Atau kan
kalau kau bayar tambahan 800.000.
Nah itu aku kira gitu.
Kan nggak ada mata kuliah lagi juga. Spesial data juga
nggak bisa.
Pilih yang mata kuliah pilihannya.
Yang dua nggak bisa.
Oh nggak bisa ya?
Nggak bisa.
Yang bisa yang 15 saja kan? Yang sebelah kanan itu. Sinar.
Kurang
nggak ada yang bersinar. Kayak biasa.
Terus banyak dari kemarin ada yang
dari maksudnya dari pemainnya aja pemain itu juga kayak biasa aja kayak nggak ada yang wah gitu. Padahal berapa biji itu kan yang di naturalisasi gitu yang sapi main sama nggak gendong kira yang kayak gendong tiba kan
pertahanan.
kalau senior tuh
kelihatan gitu waktu hijau di aman pas main terakhir. Ya, itu kelihatan banget. Nah, ini nggak ada di yang 2020 itu semuanya ya setara aja kelihatan.
They just take their time.
I know, but I made them work, so.
Yeah, okay. Ini nggak boleh nanti kalau ke kawan aku bisa kena asli. Di tempat ini nggak boleh makan.
Oh iya.
Iya.
Ini tadi nggak jadi makan.
Iya.
Ntar aja.
Iya. Soalnya sangat sedikit jarang dibersihkan.
Oh.
Did I work it too hard? Did I work it too hard?
But actually, for the MR, it's kind the answer for all things the same.
Yeah, but it makes us have to think that in a way when we to separate them.
Yeah.
But you did come up with different things. Yes, that like it worked.
Both are Yemenis. Both are Yemenis.
They are from Yemen.
They-
Scholarship student.
Oh, yes.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
It is good, but the rice all the time, morning, giving. That's the way.
Nggak boleh makan di dalam.
Oh,
Balik.
Iya. Soalnya ini strictly nggak boleh sama Pak Rektor.
Could you go out and get them? Yes, thank you. This scares me.
It's good on them.
Yeah. No, I think this was a good session. Everybody had to think. That hurts. Yes. I promised Irving to be done before 12, so we don't have that much time.
Is it possible to malfunction? Like and then you move on to other area.
What is that, man?
Like in the Matrix, where you can just learn things by done.
No, flow. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be perfect? But going into academia, I'm a geek, so I like to learn. I like that it hurts. Okay. Okay. Maybe we're getting close. As part of the iMerge group and the research group that I'm part of, everybody that you've heard from is part of that research group, just so that. And Rigmor is the leader of the pack. And Rose and I are part of the leadership group in that research group. But we collaborate with University of Leeds. And University of Leeds, they have a huge research center on immersive technologies. So a lot of the stuff that I have on so these slides that I have left are collected from that, including this video. And I was planning on showing this video towards the end, But I think I'm gonna do it now, because I promised Irving that I will be done before noon, because we're going somewhere for lunch. So I'm gonna show this video. Now, this is doing a lot of the things that we've talked about. Connecting extended reality with artificial intelligence, with all the big data, with. So have a look and then we can talk about it afterwards. And hopefully we will get this to work.
This is me. Hello, this is me. Hello, this is me. Hello, this is me. I wanted to say that.
Let's see if we can get that on.
800.
I don't know why it doesn't load right. Oh, come on. $360 Bradford was not. There we go.
Was it our own experience? Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna say it. It's a little word. And I think.
Makanya kan langsung. I wanted to 13,880 children enrolled in Western Program, one of the largest studies in the world, looking at the many influences that shape our lives. To do this, just suppose we can my friends and our lives in life have been lived since I've got information about how I am growing, how healthy I am, that's critical. So, information about how my brain is developing. And how my brain deals with information. They're collecting data about parents, their work and location within the community, and about the environment. In this model, you'll see a platform of that 18 moves. In space, based on how similar organs all bits of information are. It's a data science technique called team. For example, if we create a cloud using just R-related information, the means consistency passes by vendors and like This can be used to compare specific bits of information, like how close each of the news lives between space. Quality of the air they breathe. We can then test what happens by flying around the well, the creation of tennis, but quality of the end. God tell us about how much music has gone out. About parents. The next over 30,000
The best model for fantastic work is outbound medicated.
Okay, so you understand why we're talking about ethics? We have to, for any of these things that we're doing. Because without talking about ethics, we need, there's so many things that can happen with what we're doing. So here we're collecting, that project is collecting all kinds of data about children in Bradford, in UK, from how their brain develops, who are they connected to, their friends, everybody, all of the kids, they collect all this kind of data about them. This is a huge project. Where do they live? Do they have a lot of green space around them? Is their air polluted? What do they do? All of these things are collected, and then it's kind of used together to see how they develop. And this is a huge project. It's funded by the city. So it's not that it's not ethically sound, because it is. But what if this kind of data is collected about people without them knowing? Here, everybody knows. It's not a secret. They know what they're going to use the data for, if they're being identified in any way. But let's face it, there are evil people in this world that will collect this kind of data and use it for that. But they use some of this data also then to do city planning, for instance, to build more parks. And I heard that you are going to build some around these lakes that you have made on campus, that there's going to be some park development around them. That's probably a good thing. The more greenery we have, the better it is for us, right? So this is the things that we use VR, MR, and AR for. But we also, like you guys were talking about, connecting it to artificial intelligence, or you were saying Internet of Things. So we're using all kinds of sensors and other data to build this technology. The technology on its own is nothing. It's what we do with it that is powerful. And we as, well, you as developers need to think about the ethical issues and privacy issues with anything you build. But especially this technology that we get on us. Right? And it's not like we don't have wearables already, because we do. Well, some of us have watches that are collecting data about us just walking from here to there. Right? So we do these things already. But, and this is what I liked about our session before the break, is some of the things that I was planning on talking about, you already brought up. And that's awesome. Because then I don't have to say it. I probably would say some of it anyway. But the idea of that kind of session that we did before is brainstorming. It's together we understand better. Nobody gets good on their own. We need to discuss to understand. So together we do this much better. We know gaming and entertainment, we brought that up with all three types of technologies, right? That it will benefit from all of that. We have virtual reality with gaming, and we can watch movies and those things. With mixed reality, we can play with virtual items on surface or on the wall or whatever we're going to do. And artificial intelligence, so augmented reality, we're talking Pokemon Go and more games in that direction. It's clear. We see it happening. That's an easy one, right? But we don't necessarily see automatically how this technology can help us improve health and education. Although you guys brought these things up. These are some of the things that you talked about all on your own, right? And possibly we can use immersive technology or any of these extended reality technologies to boost our economy. I can see that happening. And after looking into the numbers also for Indonesia, I see it happening here also. It's not that it's an isolated thing for certain countries. I see it happening all over. One of the hardest issues or hardest challenges possibly in developing countries is internet connection. Yes, definitely. When COVID hit, and we have an international program, a master program, some of the students didn't get to Norway because of travel restrictions. Norway was not open, and the embassies in their countries were not open, so they didn't get visas. So we actually had to record. I am against recording lectures because that means the students don't come to class. We had to record because we knew that internet connections were a little iffy some places. So if they were to follow the lectures, they needed to have a recording of the lecture so they could, when those times they had good connection, can download it. So I know this is an issue, and that is probably the biggest issue to implement this kind of technology in development. But, and this is also, I honestly stole a lot from these about these texts, but from numerical leads, and I'm pretty sure that Mark will forgive me for that. But we know that we can improve surgery by robotic surgery or training through robotics. We also know that we can use, I think that we saw some of that yesterday on Monday from the Super Stereo video or movie from YouTube, that you can, instead of having, that was specifically for children though, but using an avatar to talk to is sometimes easier than talking to if you have anxiety. So getting these kids to therapy is hard because you can't get them out of the house. But if you can bring therapy to them through virtual reality or mixed reality with an avatar instead of a human being, you know it's a human behind that app, then it's easier to get them talking and possibly help them through this anxiety. And possibly eventually out the door to meet the world. It can also be used in training surgeons in developing countries. Because the cost is less, right? You don't have to travel, bringing the technology in, and you can train. And you can train, and you can train, and you can train, and you can do it over and over and over and over and over again. And you don't have to deal with messing up people on the web, right? So this is just an example. That's VR. In the operating room. I don't think this is going to be less. I think this is going to be more. So these are just examples. This is not the 2 lines under the answer. I know computer scientists like 2 lines under the answer. This is it. But in my world, that doesn't work. The answer to a question is always it depends. For education. Education of doctors. Education of dentists. They can practice using immersive technology and robots. Instead of messing up my teeth while they're trying, they can mess up a virtual tooth. I like that idea. I don't like going to the dentist. I go when they make me. I also think that you can use this kind of technology to map a person's set of teeth to really see where the issues are. I was given teeth that was just random thrown in and just it goes a little bit here and there. And there's so many dentists that told me that I need to have that corrected. I'm like, no, they weren't going to get away from me. But with making 3D versions of my teeth, they could possibly see where I need to be extra careful. So that would be helping me on the health side. So this is what they do in leads. Universal leads are doing this. So they are using robotics and 3D versions of teeth to practice how to deal with cavities or other things that they need to do. And then you can again do it over and over and over and over. I know there are little robots, looks like little heads that you can sit on the desk for elementary school kids that can't there. Some kids are sick for a long time, can't go to school, but they need to be part of the class anyway. And you put the robots on a desk and they can be in the room, not physically, but virtually, doing it from home. And talking to their friends, like you talk during class, they can talk during class. And seeing what's going on the screen, and the head of this robot can be turned around and they can look around for whoever. Why not do that also with a headset? That instead of viewing this on a screen, you can put it on in a headset, and then you can actually feel like you're in the group, not just seeing the group. So there's multiple ways of doing this. And we talked about this in different versions, both from an AR and VR. Even with mixed reality, we talked about this in cultures and museums, right? So we can use this technology to get access to cultural and heritage resources that are not necessarily open to the public. Every country has treasures that we are so afraid of being ruined that we hide them away, which makes sense because if they get ruined, they are gone forever. But what if we scan them all and we can access them through virtual reality instead? Or like some of you were suggesting earlier, we can use it to visit earlier times and have 3D models built of historic places. What about walking into the Colosseum in Rome? Right? When it was the Colosseum of Rome, with all the stuff that were going on there. That feeling, you can't see that anymore. And then possibly go and see it the way it looks now. But at the same time, you experienced at least somewhat. You can't get the smell, but you can get the sounds, and you can get, there's lots of things that you can replicate. 3D photography. I like to hike, but if I couldn't hike, it would be awesome to be standing on top of a mountain and see it anyway, right? If you don't find me in my apartment or in the office, I'm probably outside somewhere. And we can use, well, here's an example. You're in a historic building, bringing up your phone or your iPad or whatever it is that you're using, and then you get some sort of reenactment of how it was, so what could have happened in that room and how they could use it. Then you're there physically, but you also get some ideas of what happened all in one. So this is powerful technology. If we take advantage of it. Better decision making. And we saw the one picture we had earlier with in the warehouse. We can make better decisions knowing what's there, when it's there, which in a logistics, what package to pick first compared to actual location. And we can use big data and artificial intelligence to do this. All of these technologies are not independent of each other. They are we have to get them together somehow. And the biggest issue with big data is that we don't know what to do with it. So why not put it into use in VR or AR? I think, well, you guys had this up with prototypes, virtual prototypes. Then you don't have to use a lot of money to build something that may or may not work. But and then test it out in a virtual environment. It's hard to test out a chair how good it is to sit in, but at the same time you can do some calculations. Constructions are doing this a lot. They're using 3D on a screen usually. But why not being able to also use it in VR where they can move things around and have a little better feel of it. You can get it like real size. On big all platforms, they're building 3D models of them to figure out if a handle is going, how many things will crash with. And do the calculations over again. Because keeping track or having all the information that is needed is not always a possibility at the beginning of a project. That's that one that we saw. I wasn't sure how much time we would use, but we've talked about a lot of the possibilities so far. And we've touched upon some of the risks, but we're not going to discuss this in groups in 15 minutes because we don't have 15 minutes. But I still want to talk about this. How, and this is the same picture that Rose showed yesterday. So I honestly stole it from Rose. How do you think that we can deal with these risks? What is it that we have to do? You're going to build this technology, possibly. So you have to think about these things. So what are we going to do? We can start with physical and mental risks. We have emotional involvement, long-term damage that we don't know, blurring of boundaries, addiction, alienation. So what do you think? Oh, we have to ignore it again. How are we going to deal with this? If you're going to build some of this.
Try to minimize as much as you can these stresses. Try to be careful with designing.
How?
Taking previous studies, previous examples that have been made, and working into it, and what was the bad side or downside of it, and trying to avoid or not to make the same mistakes that was made.
Yep, that's a good one. Okay, let me do a specific one now. Addiction, or I would say blurring of boundaries, they belong together. Can we do something with the programs, with the systems, with the applications to avoid people getting addicted to a game for that matter? We know people that's played World of Warcraft and never come back out. Right? That's happened. Is it a far-fetched to think that could happen with a VR game? Or what do you think? That could happen? Yeah. So what should we do?
sometimes we should even we can make option for the user, so he can put button, or maybe if they play more than 3 hours, it will shut down the
Yeah.
and something like that. So he can control himself before he play. He will
Yes.
shut down and stop playing.
You know, Switch has done that. If you play sports on Switch, after an hour, it tells you play for an hour now. Sure, you're going to continue. And I like that idea. That's a very good idea. So can we deal with the fact that some people don't manage to see the difference between virtual and physical or real?
Yes, some people will mistaken virtual
Yeah.
and maybe we can like isolate them for some time and make them do some activities and like letting them test fix their
Yeah. Well, that's an idea. How about these social risks, though? Damage to social values, slander, and intimidation. We know that, and this is perfect to bring up on the International Women's Day, which is today, by the way. Congratulations for all of you. Women playing games, online games, virtual reality, or on screen are often slandered because they're women. Come on. Behave. No, I don't think so. I think that is a universal thing. Social disassociation, virtual violence, sexualism. How can we deal with the trolls of the internet? Because let's face it, they are on the regular forums and Facebook and all of these, but they also come into the virtual reality of our society. So how are we going to deal with that?
Try and ignore them.
You think they go away that way?
I mean, no, but as long as you don't give any attention to them, I think they don't have any purpose in something.
Yeah. Well, that is a strategy. Anything else? That could be an idea.
Or making artificial reports.
What do you mean? Artificial reports? Whose rules are we going to go by? That is a big question. Because they tried that. They tried to make universal rules for the internet. But it doesn't work because whose rules are you going to go by? But it is still interesting to think about. Abuse of power is a risk that we know of. Manipulation, we talked about that. Yes, we can talk more about that. Not transparent, so it's easy to hide and have corruption in different versions. Autonomy, granting autonomy, political influence, and use of data without permission. We've talked about that. We talked about that earlier today. But we talked about manipulation. Would you please tell everybody?
Yes, we spoke about manipulation before. The example that I addressed was if you want to spread a certain ideology, you want to spread atheism, for example, it will be a lot more easier for you because you are already inside the people's brain. You can just program the program them the way they want, you want, and also you can just convince them about anything you want because you can just put an idea like God doesn't exist and they will explain it. That's how it works.
So the idea is that because we're already so immersed into that virtual reality, that maybe it's easier to manipulate with ideology or political stance or anything really that we want going. And we know that social media and these things already work as echo chambers. If you like something, that is what you will get back. Tenfold, right? So and you don't get out of that circle. So this may be an issue when it comes down to it. And then of course there is legal risks, invasion of privacy. We talked about that, and the evil company. Identity abuse, property issues, uncertain legal status of virtual actions. Because whose rules are we going to go by? Again, if somebody in one country is doing something to somebody in another country, whose rules are we going by?
Yes.
So there is issues with these things. Yes. That's what I like to do. That is from my hammock. An early morning. I think it's 6 a.m. in the morning. I woke up to blue sky, no wind, and you see the sun is coming in on the side.
Is it Bergen?
No, this is physical.
Is it Bergen?
No, it's not Bergen. It's around Hönefoss where I live. Yes. I would love to do this around Bergen. Yeah. But I'm not home long enough at one time. So that's what we do. But you have a little time if you have any questions. This is it. Yes.
About the invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
Don't the evil company implement something here in terms of conditions? Because most of the time is that we don't even bother to read the terms and conditions because it's actually.
I know it's just awful. How many of you have ever read this? When you click, I have read and understood the terms. And you click on that and you say I agree. How many actually read it? There's not a hand. I've had one student once that has said yes, he did for that.
They make it so long so no one read it.
Exactly.
Too long.
Some
that too. A lot of times. In EU, we have gotten something called GDPR. It's regulations for privacy. And within those rules, there's also the fact that these things has to be simplified. It has to be used regular words, regular language, not legal language, and it's supposed to be much shorter. So it has to become better, but we still don't read it. How many times have you seen on Facebook, for instance, that I hereby say that Facebook are not allowed to use my pictures, my son, and then you post it and post it on your Facebook, then you also have gotten away from these privacy and Facebook can't use it. Have you seen those? It doesn't work that way. You agreed to this when you made your Facebook account. About privacy and invasion of privacy, that will happen. We as individuals have to make choices of where we go with these things and be aware that and try to protect ourselves as best as possible. But let's face it, we are walking around. I have this one on my hair, I have the phone, all these things track me. Everywhere I go, my phone knows I'm in Indonesia, so weather-wise, it just gives me Indonesian weather. it doesn't give me Norway weather because it just knows I'm here. And I try to turn off all of these tracking things. It doesn't work all the time, right? So, and the same will be with this technology here. But we, and I include myself, although I'm not a programmer or a developer, developers need to be aware of what this means. So basically also with GDPR, and I'm hoping that kind of regulations will spread throughout the world. I doubt that it will, but I'm hoping. It is also the responsibility all the way from developing of new software to take these things into account. We need to know why our data is collected, for what reason, and for how long. And if they're changing what we're using the data for, the data subjects needs to know. So there are issues here, but this is why we talk about ethics. Yes? Any other questions? If not, I'll see you guys at 3 o'clock. Yes? Thank you.
Muhammad Arif Jalil, Helga Pratama, Muhammad Farhan, Ganendra Radya, Budaifa Prihastama, Muhammad Arif Hamid,